Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, H&L Family Farm. Today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be making tomato sauce and canning it. So if you're interested in this kind of video, stay tuned and watch. Okay, I have my tomatoes in my sink. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scrub them down, and then I'm going to place them over here to rinse them off. And I'll probably do this a couple of times. You want to make sure you get all your grime off of them, the dirt, nastiness. You want to check for any defects. You definitely don't want to put any defective tomatoes into your sauce. You want to remove all your stems. And once I get past this part, we'll move to the next step. Okay, I now have all my tomatoes completely washed and cleaned. I cleaned them with, I do like a vinegar solution, which is water and vinegar. And I not only soak them and clean them by hand, but I also use that vinegar and water on them and clean them really well. At this point, what I'm now going to do is fill up a stock pot, and I'm going to place my tomatoes into the stock pot. Okay, I've added my tomatoes to my stock pot. I'm going to have to do this probably in 2 to 3 different batches, which is okay. I'm just, like I said, I'm putting them in here. I want to kind of bring it back to a little bit of a boil. I'm going to boil for about a minute, and then I'm going to put them in ice cold water, and then I'm going to start peeling the skins and start coring them. This process is the part that I think takes the longest part, just because you're going to have to core these, you're going to have to, peel the skins off, and then once that's all done, then we can place them into our blender, and then the process kind of speeds up. So this is the most tedious. Okay, with this process now, you're going to want to take a pretty nice sharp knife, and I just basically kind of cut it on the sides, and you'll see, because it's been in that hot water, the skins are just going to peel. No big deal, right? We're just going to peel these skins right off. Then if you come across any blemishes, like I have one right here, I don't know if you can see it, I'm going to kind of just cut that out. I don't want that into my sauce at all. Now I'm working with big tomatoes, and then I also have a bunch of little baby tomatoes, which I'll show you what they look like here in a second. I have a bunch of these little plum tomatoes, and with these, I don't so much really skin them all that much. I just kind of throw them into my blender, because after I put them in my food processor and get it all blended up, I'm then going to take it and kind of put it through a mill to where I'm going to get like the rest of the seeds off, and that'll take a lot of that skin and all that stuff off of those little guys. So anyway, once you get it cut, or get all your stuff off, you're going to want to cut these, and you're going to core them out. And then what I do is just kind of cut them to where I have my food processor here, and I'm just going to kind of throw them in there. And a lot of times once you stick these into the ice cold water, the skins just come right off and do the work for you, so you don't really have to peel them all that much. No rhyme to reason how you cut these tomatoes. I just kind of cut them up into quarters, and then once I start spinning them in here, this is what the consistency is looking like right now. I put it back into the stock pot. Now you can use a regular blender. I just don't happen to have one, so I'm going to use my food processor. So as you can see, with all those tomatoes that I had, this is how big my stock pot is. It's probably, I don't know, maybe an 8 to 10 quart. Might be bigger than that. But anyway, this will probably make, by the time I'm done, maybe 4 quarts. I'm hoping to get maybe 6, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I have all my sauce in my pot here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making some of the seasonings in here to put into my sauce. So in this right here, I'm going to do olive oil, and I'm going to do minced garlic. All right, so this recipe that I'm doing, it calls for 8 to 9 cloves peeled whole garlic, which you can use whole garlic. I'm actually just gonna do minced garlic in it. And I may put one garlic like in each of my jars because we do like, you know, as I said in every video, we like our stuff pretty seasoned. So let's get this turned on my pan to medium heat. And I'm gonna use like a little stock pan here, but you're gonna do about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And you're gonna get that all nice and warmed up. Now in this pot, all I'm gonna do is the olive oil and the garlic. And I'm basically just gonna put it on medium heat. I'm gonna, you know, stir it around. I wanna get it not burnt or anything like that. I just wanna get like where I can, you know, the fragrance of the garlic. And then I'm gonna pour this into my stock pot with my tomato sauce. Once I get that poured in, I'm gonna go ahead and right now I'm gonna turn my sauce on medium, because once I get my garlic and my olive oil poured into my stock pot with my tomato sauce here, that's where I'm gonna add all my other seasonings. And I'm gonna do the Italian seasoning. I'm gonna do some garlic, some garlic powder, some ground pepper, and, you know, taste it, and I'll see if I need to add anything else. I wanted to add that I chose not to take my tomato sauce and put it through my mill to get the seeds and skins off, because once I had blended it into my food processor, it blended pretty nicely. My family doesn't care that there's a little bit of seeds in there, so I'm not too worried about that. But that is a step that you can do. And if you do decide to do that, once you strain it through and you get the seeds and everything out of it, it's going to be more of a consistency like a store-bought sauce. I wanted mine a little bit more meatier than that, so that's why I chose not to. All right, my olive oil is heated up nicely, so I'm going to do probably 7 or 8 teaspoons of garlic. Alright, so I'll use the rest of this. I don't have that much left. Now I'm basically going to go ahead and just stir this around. Like I said, you're not trying to burn the garlic or the olive oil. You just kind of want to just stir it around until you get like the smells of it. Okay, so I went ahead and I added it to my tomato sauce. And at this point, I'm now going to start adding my seasoning. All right, so I'm going to start getting this stirred all together. Now, like I said, you can always add more. I may end up mincing a little bit of the whole garlic that I have. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add some Italian seasoning. Now I go by taste, but I will link the recipe below of how much to add. Or you can do it by taste too. It's just really hard to, you know, measure it out because everybody's taste is different. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my black pepper. And once I allow this to simmer for about 20 or 30 minutes, that's when I can taste it and kind of see where we're at as far as flavor goes. Now this is the garlic powder. We're gonna get this all stirred together and then we're gonna simmer it on low for about 20 to 30 minutes. All right, so while this is simmering, I went ahead and I got my water bath together. And I have my jars at 250 degrees in my oven, as you can see. They're already sterilized and they're warming up. Because this is gonna be warm and I'm gonna be placing it into the jar warm, you want to make sure your jars are warm and your water bath is warm. It's gonna be the same basic concept as doing a pressure canning, but this is called water bath canning. And so once I place these into the water bath, I'm gonna make sure that there's 1 to 2 inches above the jar lids. So, because you wanna make sure the whole thing is covered. Also, I will be adding lemon juice to this, to each quart that I add the spaghetti sauce to. And that is because that's USDA, what USDA now requires. The recipe does not call for it, but I go ahead and do it anyway, just because this is an acidy product that you want to make sure all the pH is, you know, balanced out correctly. Okay, so I went ahead and added like 2 to 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. It's a hard thing to say, huh? And then what I'm also gonna do is I took 1 large yellow onion and I actually am gonna put it in my food processor, and I'm gonna add this to this as well. Now, and then I also cut up 2 green bell peppers and put those in there also. And that'll just kind of give it a little bit of a flavor. Right, we're gonna start ladling this in. Now remember, you want to leave about a 1/2 inch head space. Sorry about the TV. My grandbaby is watching his cartoon. It's his absolute favorite. So I'm going to add just a little bit more here to get my 1/2 inch. Okay, so then at this point, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And we're going to remove our air bubbles. The jar is very, very hot. All right, and we're going to take our vinegar napkin here and wipe off our rims real good. Add our lids. And again, like I said, you want it to be finger tight. In there. So not super tight, just finger tight. And keep adding it to your pot. All right, so I ended up getting 6 quarts out of this. So now what I did is I've got all my water filled up, and it is above my jars. 1 to 2 inches is what it usually calls for. I've got this now set on high. I'm going to bring this to a nice boil. Now, you do not want it boiling where it's flying out of the pan, because that's not good. You just want to bring it to like a little royal boiling. Tongue twisted here. I did add a splash of vinegar into my water, just because, again, I live in the mountains, so I have hard water, which anybody who lives in the country has hard water, and I don't want my jars to be all yucky, like foggy when they come out. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up to a boil, and then I'm going to let it maintain that for 40 minutes. I'm gonna place the lid. Process these for 40 minutes because they're quarts. And pints are 35 minutes. So because these are quarts, they're gonna be processed for 40. All right, so mine's at a boil. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer here for 40 minutes. Like I said, with pint jars, you would do 35 minutes, but these are quarts, so I'm gonna process them for 40. All right, my timer has gone off, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove my lid. All right, so they've been settled for a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and start removing them from here. All right, so there's my final product, and it looks beautiful. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and like I said, in the description below, I will go ahead and write the recipe down. And if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure you like our video, and thank you, and come again.